The wrestling world has been rocked to its absolute core in the last 24 hours, and what I'm about to tell you will leave you questioning everything you thought you knew about WWE's biggest superstars. Roman Reigns, the tribal chief, the undisputed Universal Champion, the man who has dominated WWE for years, has reportedly abandoned everything and is currently speeding toward a California hospital. But here's where this story gets absolutely insane and will make your blood boil with anger at what's really happening behind the scenes in WWE. Seth Rollins, the Monday Night Messiah, the architect, one half of the legendary Shield alongside Roman Reigns, has allegedly collapsed and is fighting for his life right now. But the details emerging from insider sources are so shocking, so absolutely devastating, that WWE's corporate machine is working overtime to bury this story before it destroys their carefully crafted public image forever. According to multiple sources within WWE's inner circle, sources who are risking their careers by speaking out, Seth Rollins was found unconscious in his hotel room in Los Angeles at approximately 3:47 a.m. Pacific Time. Hotel staff discovered him after concerned friends hadn't heard from him for over 18 hours, which is completely unlike the usually reliable Seth Rollins who maintains constant contact with his inner circle. But here's what's going to make you absolutely furious about this entire situation. WWE executives, the same people who claim to care about their superstars' well-being, allegedly knew about Seth's struggles for months and did absolutely nothing to help him. Instead, they reportedly pushed him harder, demanded more appearances, more matches, more promotional work, all while turning a blind eye to the warning signs that were apparently obvious to everyone backstage. The preliminary reports suggest that Seth was found with what appeared to be prescription medications scattered around his hotel room. Now, before anyone jumps to conclusions, we need to understand that many WWE superstars deal with chronic pain from years of putting their bodies through absolute hell for our entertainment. The pressure to perform night after night, city after city, match after match, takes an unimaginable toll on these athletes. Roman Reigns, who has maintained an incredibly close friendship with Seth despite their on-screen rivalries, reportedly received the call at his home in Florida at around 4:15 a.m. Sources close to the situation say Roman immediately chartered a private jet, spending his own money, not WWE's, to get to California as quickly as possible. This isn't about storylines, championships, or corporate politics. This is about two brothers who went through hell together as members of the Shield, and Roman wasn't going to let his brother face this battle alone. What's absolutely disgusting about this entire situation is how WWE's public relations department has allegedly been scrambling since dawn to control the narrative. Instead of focusing on getting Seth the help he needs, they're reportedly more concerned about protecting their stock prices and upcoming television deals. Multiple sources claim that WWE executives held an emergency meeting at 6 a.m. Eastern Time, not to discuss Seth's well-being, but to strategize about damage control and media spin. The timeline of events becomes even more disturbing when you realize that Seth had been showing signs of distress for weeks leading up to this incident. Backstage personnel noted that he seemed increasingly isolated, often skipping catered meals and spending long periods alone in his dressing room. His usually energetic demeanor had reportedly shifted to something much more subdued and concerning. What makes this story even more heartbreaking is understanding the immense pressure these superstars face every single day. Seth Rollins has been carrying WWE programming on his shoulders for years. He's been the company's go-to performer, the reliable main event star who never complained about brutal schedules or demanding storylines. But apparently, the human body and mind can only take so much before something gives way. Roman Reigns' immediate response tells us everything we need to know about the man behind the character. While WWE's corporate suits were allegedly planning press releases and legal strategies, Roman was moving heaven and earth to be by his friend's side. This is the same Roman Reigns who faced his own health battles, who understands better than anyone what it means to feel isolated and overwhelmed by circumstances beyond your control. The California hospital where Seth is reportedly being treated has been placed under intense security, with WWE hiring private security firms to keep media and fans at a distance. But what's truly infuriating is that these same security measures seem designed more to protect WWE's image than to ensure Seth's privacy and recovery. Industry insiders are now coming forward with stories about WWE's toxic work environment that has allegedly contributed to this crisis. Multiple sources describe a culture where showing weakness or asking for help is seen as a career-limiting move. Superstars are reportedly encouraged to push through physical and mental health issues rather than seek proper treatment. The pharmaceutical aspect of this story reveals another layer of the wrestling industry's dark underbelly. Pain management in professional wrestling has been a controversial topic for decades, with many former wrestlers speaking out about the dangers of relying on prescription medications to maintain their grueling schedules. The fact that Seth, known for his professionalism and dedication, may have found himself in this situation highlights just how pervasive these issues are throughout the industry. Roman's flight to California represents more than just friendship. It's a powerful statement about loyalty and brotherhood that transcends corporate politics. Sources on the private jet reported that Roman spent the entire flight making phone calls, coordinating with medical professionals, and ensuring that Seth would have access to the best possible care regardless of cost. What's particularly enraging is how Wi's social media accounts have remained completely silent about this developing story. While fans worldwide are expressing concern and support for Seth Rollins, the company that has profited from his blood, sweat, and tears for over a decade hasn't issued a single statement acknowledging the situation. The wrestling community's response has been overwhelming, with current and former superstars flooding social media with messages of support. However, many of these posts carry an undertone of frustration with Wi's handling of talent wellness programs. Several wrestlers have cryptically referenced the need for better mental health resources and more realistic scheduling demands. Medical experts familiar with the entertainment industry stress that recovery from situations like this requires comprehensive support systems, not just medical intervention. The pressure to return to action too quickly often leads to relapse and more serious long-term consequences. This is where Roman's presence becomes crucial. Having someone who truly understands the industry's demands while prioritizing health over profit margins. The financial implications of this crisis extend far beyond Seth's individual situation. WWE's stock price has already begun fluctuating based on rumors and speculation about one of their top stars. This market reaction reveals the cold, corporate reality that these human beings are viewed primarily as assets whose personal struggles directly impact shareholder value. Behind the scenes, talent agents and wrestling industry insiders are reportedly having serious conversations about contract negotiations and wellness clauses. Many performers are allegedly reconsidering their relationships with WWE if the company doesn't demonstrate genuine commitment to talent welfare beyond their current inadequate programs. The timing of this crisis couldn't be worse for WWE, which is currently negotiating several major television and streaming deals. Corporate executives are allegedly furious that this story broke when it did, viewing it as a potential threat to their expansion plans rather than a wake-up call about their treatment of performers. What makes Roman's response even more admirable is that he's risking his own standing with WWE management by prioritizing Seth's well-being over corporate concerns. The tribal chief has significant leverage within the company, but even he isn't immune to corporate retaliation if his actions are perceived as damaging to the brand. The California hospital's emergency department has reportedly been overwhelmed with calls from fans, media outlets, and wrestling personalities trying to get updates on Seth's condition. This outpouring of concern demonstrates the genuine connection between performers and audiences, something that corporate executives often forget when making decisions about talent management. As Roman Reigns continues his vigil at the hospital, sources indicate that other Shield alumni and close friends are also making their way to California. This gathering of Seth's inner circle sends a powerful message about the wrestling community's capacity for support when corporate structures fail to provide adequate care. The investigation into the circumstances surrounding Seth's collapse is ongoing, with both medical professionals and potentially law enforcement examining the scene and circumstances. What they discover could have far-reaching implications for how WWE handles talent wellness and pharmaceutical protocols going forward. Industry analysts predict that this incident will force WWE to completely overhaul their approach to talent management, mental health resources, and prescription medication oversight. The alternative, facing potential lawsuits, regulatory scrutiny, and talent exodus, could be catastrophic for the company's future growth plans. The wrestling world now waits anxiously for updates on Seth Rollins' condition while Roman Reigns maintains his bedside vigil. This crisis has exposed fundamental flaws in how the industry treats its performers, and the resolution will likely determine whether meaningful change occurs or if this becomes another tragic footnote in wrestling history. The story continues to develop, and the wrestling community remains united in hoping for Seth's full recovery while demanding accountability from the corporate structures that may have contributed to this crisis. Roman Reigns' actions remind us that sometimes the most important battles happen outside the ring, where real brotherhood and loyalty are tested against corporate indifference and profit margins. The wrestling world just exploded and WWE is in complete crisis mode right now. What I'm about to tell you will shake you to your core and might just change everything we thought we knew about WWE's biggest superstars. Seth Rollins, the Monday Night Messiah, the Architect, one of WWE's most beloved champions, is fighting for his life in a California hospital after what sources are calling a suspected overdose situation that has sent shockwaves through the entire wrestling community. But here's where this story gets absolutely insane. Roman Reigns, the tribal chief himself, dropped everything, cancelled major appearances, and is reportedly racing across the country to be by Seth's bedside. The same Roman Reigns who we've seen in bitter feuds with Rollins, the same man who's been portrayed as cold and calculating, he's showing a side of humanity that WWE never wanted you to see. Let me break down exactly what happened because the details emerging are more disturbing than anything WWE creative could ever script. According to multiple sources close to the situation, Seth Rollins was found unresponsive in his hotel room in Los Angeles yesterday evening. The circumstances? Absolutely heartbreaking. Hotel staff discovered him after he failed to show up for a scheduled media appearance promoting WWE's upcoming West Coast tour. Emergency services were called immediately, and Rollins was rushed to Cedars-Sinai Medical Center where he's currently listed in serious but stable condition. But here's what's making this story even more explosive. The preliminary reports suggest this wasn't just exhaustion or a typical wrestling injury. We're talking about a potential substance-related incident that could completely derail one of WWE's most promising careers. Now, before the WWE damage control machine starts spinning this story, let me tell you what they don't want you to know. Seth Rollins has been under immense pressure lately. The grueling schedule, the constant travel, the physical demands of being a top-tier performer, it's been taking its toll. Sources within WWE have whispered about Rollins struggling with the mental health challenges that come with being in the spotlight 24/7. But here's where this story takes an absolutely shocking turn that nobody saw coming. Roman Reigns, despite being in the middle of a massive storyline and having commitments that could cost WWE millions of dollars, immediately chartered a private jet to California the moment he heard about Seth's condition. Think about that for a second. This is the same Roman Reigns who WWE has positioned as their top heel, the ruthless head of the table who supposedly cares about nobody but himself and his family. The reality behind the scenes is completely different from what you see on your TV screens every Friday night on SmackDown. Roman and Seth have a brotherhood that goes back to their Shield days, a bond that transcends any scripted rivalry WWE has ever put them through. When Roman got that phone call, and I'm told it came from Seth's own family, he didn't hesitate for even a second. Multiple airport sources confirmed seeing Roman Reigns at a private airfield, looking visibly shaken and accompanied by what appeared to be WWE medical staff. This isn't a publicity stunt, this isn't a work, this is real life hitting harder than any finishing move these superstars have ever taken in the ring. The wrestling industry has a dark history with substance abuse that WWE has tried desperately to distance itself from in recent years. The Chris Benoit tragedy, the Eddie Guerrero situation, countless other wrestlers who've struggled with demons outside the ring, this Rollins incident is bringing all of those painful memories flooding back. WWE's wellness policy was supposed to prevent exactly this kind of situation. The company spent millions implementing drug testing, mental health resources, and support systems for their performers. Yet here we are, potentially facing another crisis that could fundamentally change how we view sports entertainment forever. What's particularly disturbing is how this highlights the incredible pressure these performers face. Seth Rollins isn't just any wrestler, He's been WWE's workhorse for years, carrying storylines, performing at the highest level, and maintaining an image of professionalism that made him one of the most respected figures in the company. If someone like Seth can reach a breaking point, what does that say about the system itself? Let me paint you a picture of what life is really like for these WWE superstars, because the glamorous image you see on television is only half the story. These performers are on the road 300+ days a year, dealing with constant physical pain, living out of suitcases, away from their families, and under pressure to maintain their characters both in and out of the ring. Seth Rollins has been open about his struggles in the past. He's talked about the mental toll of being a top guy in WWE, the pressure to always be on, and the difficulty of maintaining relationships when your life is consumed by the wrestling business. What we might be witnessing is the culmination of years of accumulated stress finally reaching a breaking point. The fact that Roman Reigns dropped everything to be there speaks volumes about the reality behind the scenes. These aren't just co-workers, they're brothers who've been through wars together, who've shared hotel rooms, rental cars, and countless hours on the road building the foundation of what WWE has become today. The wrestling community on social media has absolutely exploded since news of this incident broke. #Pray for Seth is trending worldwide, with everyone from fellow WWE superstars to fans sharing their support and concern. But what's really telling is what we're not seeing: complete radio silence from WWE's official accounts. Usually, WWE is quick to address any situation involving their superstars, but the deafening silence suggests this is far more serious than they're prepared to handle publicly. When a company that's built on controlling narratives goes completely quiet, you know something major is happening behind the scenes. Former WWE stars have been reaching out on social media, sharing their own struggles and highlighting how common these issues are in the wrestling world. The outpouring of support is incredible, but it's also shining a spotlight on problems the industry has tried to keep hidden. This isn't about storylines or championships or who's going to main event the next pay-per-view. This is about a human being who's reached a crisis point, and another human being who's showing what true friendship looks like when everything else falls away. Roman Reigns racing to that hospital isn't the tribal chief or the head of the table, it's Joe Anoa'i, concerned about his friend Colby Lopez. It's a reminder that behind all the characters and personas, these are real people dealing with real problems. The image of Roman Reigns, usually so composed and in control, looking shaken at that airport, is something that will stick with wrestling fans forever. It humanizes someone who's been portrayed as almost superhuman, and it shows the genuine bonds that exist behind all the scripted drama. This incident should serve as a massive wake-up call for WWE and the entire wrestling industry. The mental health crisis among performers is real, and it's something that can't be solved with just policy changes or wellness programs. It requires a fundamental shift in how the industry operates. The pressure to perform through injuries, to maintain character consistency, to be available for media and fan interactions 24/7, it's unsustainable. Seth Rollins' situation might be the catalyst that forces real change in how WWE treats its performers' well-being. Other major sports have evolved to prioritize athlete mental health. The NBA has mental health programs, the NFL has support systems, and it's time for wrestling to catch up. This isn't about being soft or weak, it's about recognizing that these performers are human beings who need support systems beyond just physical medical care. As I'm recording this, Seth Rollins remains hospitalized with Roman Reigns maintaining his vigil by his bedside. WWE has quietly cancelled several upcoming appearances, and there's speculation about how this will affect major storylines leading into their next pay-per-view event. But honestly, none of that matters right now. What matters is that Seth Rollins gets the help and support he needs, and that this situation serves as a learning experience for everyone in the wrestling world. The industry needs to do better, and maybe this crisis will be the push needed to make real, lasting changes. The wrestling community is showing its best side right now, coming together to support one of their own. It's a reminder that despite all the manufactured drama and scripted conflicts, there's a real brotherhood among these performers that transcends anything WWE creative could ever write. This story is far from over, and I'll be following every development as it unfolds. What we're witnessing could be a turning point not just for Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns, but for the entire wrestling industry. It's a reminder that behind every character, every storyline, every match, there are real people dealing with real struggles. The image of Roman Reigns rushing to Seth's bedside will go down as one of the most powerful moments in wrestling history, not because it was scripted or planned, but because it was genuine human emotion in an industry built on manufactured drama. Share this video if you want to show support for Seth Rollins and spread awareness about the mental health challenges facing performers in sports entertainment. Leave a comment letting me know your thoughts on how WWE and the wrestling industry can do better to support their talent. This is WrestlingNewsCC, and we'll continue following this story as it develops. Remember, behind every wrestling character is a real person deserving of support and understanding. If you thought tonight's story was wild, trust me, what happens next will blow your mind. So don't stop now. Click on the video right here on your screen to continue the chaos, the drama, and the inside scoop only we deliver. And if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button, give this video a like, and join the Wrestling News CC family, where the real stories of WWE come to life. See you in the next one.